Look, we know our friends at Rogue Media Network stay busy. The local podcast production company drops over 60 new episodes a week and hosts more than 250 shows, including one dedicated entirely to the animated series King of the Hill. Joining me now to share more is the co-founder of Rogue Media Network, Mike Hamilton, and his co-host, Rusty Shackelford. We're so glad to have you both here today.
Hey,
thanks for having
us. How are you?
Yeah, doing well.
Good.
How's y'all's day going?
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
Okay.
Doing great.
Good.
A little muggy, but
yeah,
that's
it is a
about
little
it.
muggy,
Yeah,
a little
that's all I
foggy.
got. Yeah.
I love shows like this. If I'm in love with a show and hearing people break it down, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right into it. We didn't say the name of the podcast, though, on purpose, because we want to hear you both pronounce it. Let's go.
BWAAA.
Yeah, something like that.
The noise that Hank Hill makes, so it's like an onomatopoeia. So.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Why did you decide to give your podcast show this name?
I was just coming up with names, and we were texting back and forth, and I did a lot of market research and looked at different names that were in like the King of the Hill podcast sphere.
We went with the one that nobody could find.
And
so that was way,
nobody could find. Yeah.
How did you guys get connected and start this podcast?
I actually posted something saying I wanted to find somebody that knew about like 80s and 90s TV and wanted to do a podcast about it. Really didn't know what the target was. Rusty was one of the first ones that reached out to me, and we originally started with an entirely different show.
Yeah.
The show was about
David Letterman.
Yeah.
So we started off, we were kind of just sitting and spitballing what we both kind of liked. So we started a David Letterman podcast first, and we did about 8 episodes of that, and the research for it was kind of strenuous,
so much work.
and finding guests and stuff was kind of hard. We did have a couple of cool guests. One of the cool guests that we had was the producer for Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3. Jay Stern is his name. We had him on there, so that was pretty cool. But we went with something that was a little easier to do, a little more manageable. So we decided to go ahead and do King of the Hill, as we discovered it was both of our comfort show. So we've been doing that now for.
This was 3.5, 4 years ago. I mean, this has been a while, and so I would imagine that Letterman show will rear its ugly head at some point. Now that we've figured out a little bit better way to do these shows. This show is a lot of work as well, but we're really enjoying it.
Good, and that's got to be such a passion project if that's your comfort show, like you said. For those who haven't seen King of the Hill, can you describe the animated series and what people should know about it?
Slice of life, that's what I call it. It's like an animated slice of life. It's 4 good old boys in the backyard, standing beside the fence, drinking beer, talking about life, complaining about their wives and that kind of thing. It's just one of those things. And the cool thing about the show is that after every episode, there's always a moral bit to it. They always have something at the end where it kind of closes up into a episodic morality tale.
What I remember about it is great writing. I haven't watched every episode, but great writing.
Yeah,
what are both of your experiences as far as being introduced to the show?
I can remember working for an internet service provider here in town when it came on. I've got this weird thing where I can tell you every place I've seen a movie or something like this has happened, and that's one of them. I just remember kind of identifying with it. There wasn't anything on TV that talked about our way of life. And by that, I just mean a little slower, Central Texas feeling. We've always tried to figure out where Arlen is, the town they live in, and we think it's very close to Waco. And so, yeah, that's kind of our first introduction to it.
Yeah, my introduction to it was I just moved here from England as a kid. I was.
You can hear it in his accent.
Yeah, I was 6 when I moved here.
I would have not guessed that at all.
But the show aired after the Super Bowl in I think it was 97 or 97 is when it aired, and that was like my first introduction to it was right after the Super Bowl, the very first episode of the show kind of thing.
Okay, we got the Super Bowl coming up. Always a good hook if you've got a show coming out around that time. What about it made you want to start a podcast about it, and how is this show going?
We both just identified with the show, and so in talking with the Letterman show, we were looking for something that we could grab the scripts from and be able to kind of procedurally go through line by line, and that's basically what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
So every week I'll print off the script. I spend a couple of hours going through it line by line with my little highlighters and my pen and making notes and stuff. And then we go usually on a Sunday and we'll record 2 or 3 episodes at a time, just kind of bank stuff. But yeah, it's line by line.
Yeah, one of the things that I guess I like about it was the you could go to any neighborhood in Texas and meet these characters. They're people that you know in your real life. They're really relatable people, and that's what I thought is we wanted to have something that's relatable to not just to us, to our experience as Texans, but something that we could relate to other neighborhoods in the United States, because these guys are in every neighborhood in every state, you know. So
it's a 22-minute show that takes us about an hour and a half to talk about each week. So.
Has it been fun rewatching some of these episodes?
yeah.
Or like, are you both doing it chronologically? Like going
Yes.
back
Yeah,
through them?
it's chronological.
Episode
We're
by
at
episode,
season 7, episode 9, so we're kind of deep into it now. We're over halfway through the show at this point because there's 13 seasons, and it's been a blast.
Well, and the nice thing is with the reboot coming, probably within the next couple of months, we've got brand new content. So we're looking forward to that. We hope that it stays true to what we know and love now. But yeah, episode by episode. And honestly, I don't remember a lot of it as we go through it. And I think that's good for the show, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of times you remember how it made you feel, but you don't remember some of the details.
Yeah.
You go back
absolutely.
and rewatch your favorite shows.
So you're seeing different jokes, and like you get to really appreciate the writing, going through it the way we go through it, because we actually see the script and we go through line by line. So there's jokes that didn't stand out before that you catch, and there's just different like cultural references and stuff that you see that you wouldn't otherwise have gotten before as a kid. I watched it as a kid, so there's a lot of stuff that I didn't get that I get now. So.
Does it stand up in 2025?
It stands up in
does.
2047. It's I think it's a timeless show for sure.
It's very much about family. And it's about being true to your friends and your family, and just it's also, I think a lot of people think it's very conservative because of where it's based and what it's about, but it's really not. It's very accepting to all kinds of ways of life and different creeds and makes of people, and that's one of the things when it wraps it up at the end, you're like, well, this is not at all what I thought it was, you know. Yeah, like there's one episode where he meets George Bush, and he's this big conservative guy, and he loves George Bush, and then George Bush sticks his hand out and he's got a cold fish handshake, and so he's very disappointed, you know, and so he realizes that he's just a man, you know.
You guys hit a milestone recently. Would you like to celebrate that here? What happened?
150K downloads total on YouTube so far, or listens and watches.
That's just
and
YouTube.
Then it's been 3 years. We've hit our 3-year mark.
3 years.
We've been doing this for 3 years now, so it's pretty fun. It's been a great experience.
Twice a week, 3 years. So
Wow,
there you go.
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Appreciate
a long
it.
time.
Yeah.
Well, guys, who's your favorite character and why?
I like Dale Gribble. I think he's funny. He's a conspiracy theorist, and he always has these outlandish conspiracy theories that he latches onto and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that's probably my favorite character.
Cotton is my favorite. Hank's dad, the one without any shins, and it's just because he's so ridiculous and over the top. You know, that I love a good bad guy. He's a good bad guy.
Good villain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you guys would like to add? And by the way, you can scan that QR code on your screen as we're talking if you'd like to learn more about the podcast.
I just want to say how much we appreciate our fans.
Absolutely.
We get stuff in the mail, we get emails, we get phone calls, we get all of these things. Like some guy sent us the entire season on DVD, all of the seasons.
One of our fans
the whole
sent me a
thing.
laptop, actually.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
had
it's
mentioned
crazy.
that I needed a laptop for production because my laptop was out of date, and he reached out and said, "Go to Best Buy and pick it up in your area." I already
And
sent
that guy
it, so.
still helps us out with the show. He's
a part of the production,
He's
I
in Florida
guess you could
now,
say,
and he does
yeah.
fact checking and stuff for us.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's cool.
Can we all say the name together? Can you teach me
Yeah,
again?
sure.
BWAAA.
Yeah, you got to give it a little bit of that. Yeah.
That's what it's called, a King of the Hill podcast. It drops every Monday and Friday, and you can listen to the previous episodes by scanning the QR code I mentioned that's on your screen. Again, big congrats to your following, Mike and Rusty, and we will be right back.